Hey everyone, welcome to the Internet Capitalist Podcast with Luke Kish, where we talk about mindsets, experiences, and frameworks that will help you have fun, get rich, build cool shit, and positively impact the world. I am your host, Luke Kish, and welcome to episode number 25 of the podcast, all about how to get better response rates with sales messaging. And today I'm answering your questions. This is an audience question. If you want to have your question answered in a future episode, just send an email to luke@lukekish.com with the subject line question, and I will answer it in a future episode. Once again, if you want to have one of your questions answered in a future episode, just send an email to luke@lukekish.com with the subject line question. Okay, so I actually had two people asked me the same question or similar question, which was, how to get response rates on email. That was a shorter one through DM, through Skirg. And then Kevin writes, here's a question, topic, sales messaging, how to deliver a message via phone call, cold, warm, voicemail, email, marketing copy, follow-up cadence, etc. Getting a response in today's environment where buyers are skeptical can be challenge for most, and most salespeople have generic old skills and techniques that trigger sales resistance. It would be great to hear your take on selling. Keep up the great work, Luke. Would like to have a deeper conversation about this with you if you're interested. Okay, so that is the question. How to deliver a message via phone call, cold, warm, voicemail, email, marketing copy, follow-up to increase the response rate, and at the end of the day, increase the amount of sales. So let's talk number one, the obvious, beyond some like principle-based thing. And I actually did an episode that, changed the idea of marketing to human experiences that you're trying to create. That's a previous episode. That's a really good episode to understand how to do this better. I'm going to talk about some different stuff, but it's still based off of creating human experiences. So here's my belief on sales messaging and marketing and how to increase response rates and things like that. First, people greatly underestimate the amount of volume that they need to be testing with and the amount of people that they can be, consciously trying new things with. And then the overall approach is too lackadaisical, meaning like people are like, oh yeah, I sent out like 5 emails or, whatever. If you're trying to refine a system and a process, you need to approach the strategy like it's a system or a process. It's like if you're sending outbound emails, are you sending a certain amount per day? Do they all have similar headlines? Are they all going to a similar type of person in the audience? Do they all have different bodies? Are you sending 10 of that version, 10 of the other version, 10 of the other version, 10 of the other version? And then are you doing that every day, keeping track of it, making sure that you're doing it, and then able to look back on the results and reflect upon what may or may not have happened in the case. So that's how fundamentally you're going to build out any sales marketing strategy through increasing the volume and then being very conscious and intentful around it. Number one, most people greatly underestimate that. I had another guy actually in my DMs talking about how he could get a higher response rate as well. Same exact topic. And he said he had sent out 150 emails. And this is, no poo-poo to him. If the framing is like incorrect, it's like, okay, it's understandable to think that like 150 is a lot. And the truth is, it is not, because what people don't get with like email is that when you send out, say, 1 million emails, I send out, or my company sends out millions of emails every month. So say, let's just use 1 million for a round number. If you have an open rate of like 30 to 40%, that means that millions automatically just 300,000 to 400,000. And then in opening an email on your iPhone, you could just be like, just deleting through, and then that's an open. So say decrease that by another 10, 15%. And then, now we're at 200,000 out of the million. And then say there's 200,000. Now, the headline only gets 5% of the people's attention. Now you're at 5%. And then out of the 5%, only like 2 or 3% read the body of the email. So it breaks down so quickly from the actual volume that like the effective volume or like the affected impact on the number is so much smaller than the front end input. So like the output number of, okay, what actually, made a hit somebody, like what actually showed up on someone's radar is so much smaller than the inputs are. So you got to keep that in mind, especially with email. But really, that's with any sort of messaging, any sort of marketing. Don't approach it with a this has to work frame. It's more of like we need to massage this, we need to adjust this and take feedback. And then the key there is volume, number one, and then intent. And then even before that, you want to think of and identify what are the most important components to nail, right? So it's like if you don't have a good subject line in an email, the email never even gets opened. And if it never even gets opened, the body copy doesn't matter. And the copy in the email doesn't matter. And the strategy that's in the email doesn't matter. So you need to get the headlines first, right? You need to get people opening the email and then like the right amount of people opening the email and then, so on and so forth. In ads, okay, probably if it's an image ad, the image is going to be about 70% of the impact. The headline is going to be about, 10% of the impact. And then the body copy is going to be about 20% of the impact. But the headline is more, sorry, I got that wrong. The headline is going to be more impactful than the body copy. But then the body copy, with the impact it does make, is very meaningful, even though as a percentage of like getting people's attention and getting people to stop and pay attention is going to be a smaller amount. But by the time people's intent is at the point where they're actually reading through the copy, it is extremely important to, do right. And that would be an image ad. Now, if you have a video ad, then you have, 80% of it is the video. And then you have the headline and the body copy, but you got to nail the video first. And then inside the video, you have the hook, you have the body. And then, you want to assess, say that, the watch time is great. You're getting really low CPMs, cost per 1,000 impressions. You are getting a high view rate. So, video view 25%, 50%, 70%. You're getting people to watch the video, stop. That means your hook's good, but maybe the hook is like too good. Maybe it's getting people who just aren't interested, or maybe there's no call to action in your video. So maybe those two things, the CPMs are good, the views rate, but you have views great, view rate is great, but you have no click-through rate. So then you would want to like dig into what's wrong with this in the sense of the click-through rate. Maybe there's no clear call to action, or maybe the hook, although it's good, is hooking in the wrong kind of person. And then the body, although interesting, is just like, it's just interesting. It's not driving any action. Or maybe you just forgot to put a CTA, or the CTA is not clear. There's multiple CTAs. So you get the point. When you're going into massaging any sort of sales messaging to make it more important, you gotta, number one, don't underestimate the volume. And then number two, don't underestimate the fact that you're going to have to massage it, right? You're going to have to like intentfully massage it, right? You're going to have to look at it, try and think from first principles, like what's the most important components here that we need to figure out, like what's layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4. And then you put something out there and you then, take feedback, right? You have to be organized and intentful, because without some sort of structured feedback loop, you cannot gain any reliable data. So if you're just sending out, 3 emails on one day and 5 the next day and 2 the next day, and they all say different shit, it's really hard to pull a causal correlation between your inputs and the outputs. So you got to have intent, right? Don't underestimate the volume, and then have a high level of intent. Number one, identifying what are the big dominoes, like what are the most important components of this sales messaging material, marketing messaging material? What are the biggest components? And then how can we go about testing them and getting data on them in an organized way that provides us causal correlations between the inputs and the outputs? Meaning if we changed this headline, we can clearly see, because it's going to the same audience at the same time and the same volumes per day, that headline made the difference. So yeah, that's another thing. And then off that point, when you are testing this kind of shit, you can't be moving around tons of things at the same time, right? It kind of goes into like intent and then organization. If you don't have control around the components, then you lose that causal correlation that helps you massage the messaging. So like, say that you change your headlines, but at the same time as changing your ad headlines, you're changing your opt-in headlines. So you have different headlines on your ads or different creatives on your ads, but then you also decided you wanted to split test the opt-in page. So have the traffic's going to a completely new thing there. Then all of a sudden, you know, you're getting different numbers, but you have no fucking idea what's creating the difference. And when you have no idea what's creating the difference, you cannot improve it. So, you know, control yourself. And slow is smooth, smooth is fast. You want to move forward, get reliable data that you can be confident with, and then move. So that is one like overarching thing that should improve your sales and marketing messaging. Number one, don't underestimate the volume. Number two, understand you're going to have to massage it and figure it out. And then number three, you're going to have intent and then a high level of organization around what you're trying to figure out. Like, go into the thing trying to figure out a certain thing that you predetermined was important to figure out. Number three. And then number four, which is more overarching, and if you want like more of this, which I believe is the most important part of any marketing, is understanding how to create human experiences. And then thinking of it not from a lens of what marketing material, ad, creative, hook, email, etc. do you need to create, but what human experience can you create that is going to lead you to a favorable outcome? And one of the most obvious ones there that people overlook is helping before you sell. So like the easiest way to get somebody to believe in you is by actually just helping them. So like if you're trying to, you know, it's like, I don't have to guess whether or not I want the next iPhone because I already have an iPhone that I love. And, you know, I want the faster one, right? I don't have to guess that I, could get value from Alex Hormozy because the shit that he puts out is already really fucking valuable and has helped me, right? So the point comes to, oh, you know, hey, I want to sell you this thing. If somebody's already helped you, there's so much skepticism that's overcome. There's so much trust already built. There's so much, you know, goodwill built, reciprocation. So like you want to improve any sales messaging, help before you sell. And then you could be, you know, clever with this. I think the example I did on the last podcast, and once again, if you want a deeper explanation of looking at marketing as a human experience, look back. It's episode number 23, A Dangerously Effective Marketing Approach. But yeah, you can be creative. Like the example I gave right now, was in real estate, where like obviously real estate's just a huge question mark for people. Nobody's, you know, the amount of people buying it's going down, people's buying power is going down. And, you know, most real estate agents are just sitting, right? It's like, oh, no one's buying stuff right now. And like the idea of educating someone on risk in real estate seems like counterintuitive if you're a real estate person. Like you're saying, oh, well, here's all the reasons maybe you shouldn't buy real estate right now. Doing that is helping before you sell. So like if there's a real estate agent out there listening to this and they put together, you know, where all the risk lies and create like a clear continuum of thought around where risk lies in the real estate market today, and they get this information, so it's good information, it's valuable, it helps people avoid risk, and they give it to, say, you know, 5,000 people over the next year while the market's sort of confusing or whatever. And it's not like they're shooting themselves in the foot because, you know, obviously in any market, there's opportunities to make money. It's just more so like showing people how to not be blind and then how to like really look for the opportunities to make money. And at the same time, you know, it's like self-admitting risk in the thing that you're providing, which makes you so much more believable. And then number two is just genuinely helpful. You know, like the real estate agent who's still just like, Sure, there's certain real estate markets right now that are fine to sell in, but there's there's certainly plenty of real estate agents out there who also think real estate's risky, who are still just trying to sell real estate to people. And that's just a dumb play. Like, it's like you could be just showing everyone where their risk lies, sending out emails, building conversations, talking on the phone with people. You're thinking about buying a house right now. I don't, here, I'm going to send you over this PDF that I put together. It's got all of the market indicators. I think going through this will really help you reframe and think through your situation. And then if you're still sure, because you're in a cash rich position, or, you just have way more means than required, you don't really care, you just want the house, then sure, let's move forward with this. But I want you to know all of these things. And then you do that for everyone, whether they're ready to buy a house or not, 5,000 people. You're helping before you sell. In 2 years, when it's time to buy houses for people again, or 5 years, or whatever it may be, you've now built this list of people that you can reapproach, keep contact with, that you're giving this free information that's valuable, and you are what? Helping before you sell. And you could do this in any market, right? Any market, right? If you teach fill in the blank, you teach people how to do mosaics. What's a mosaic tip? You teach people how to fucking fish, right? Like, what's some free fishing shit that you could explain to people before the point of them buying something fishing related from you, right? You sell dog food. How can you help pet owners before the point of them buying your food? That's like one of the most powerful things. People just want to make money right off the bat. If you put some of your brain, like right now, what we're doing in my company is we're taking the 5 avatars. What are the problems that they have? What are the unspoken concerns around these problems? So, first principles thinking, what are the 5 types of people, if we tried to boil it down, and then we're going to start with the top 3 most common, with the problems that our product solves. Okay, now what initial problems do these people have before the point of buying what we sell? What are the unspoken concerns around these problems? And then what is the most valuable things that we can do to help these people address these problems? That's how we laid it out. And then we're building products for these things in specific that we can give to people, so that our sales team has, email material. Hey, check this out for people who don't buy. Or, hey, I saw your application and said you have this problem, this problem, this problem. Here's this free program where we teach you how to solve that. And then, in a month, when those salespeople follow up, how much different do you think the response rate is going to be? Once we've already given them a free thing that helps them, we've crafted it so that it addresses the unspoken concerns that they have, and then gives them the most value around solving these things. The level of resistance that we are going to experience is so much lower. It's really, really exciting. So that's what we're doing right now. What are the 5 avatars? Let's start with the top 3. We're our product experts. Okay, we're our coaches. Now let's identify what are the unspoken concerns that these types of people have. Okay, what areas are they? Okay, what are the problems? Let's clearly define them. What are the solutions? Now let's address all these unspoken concerns, and let's give them the solutions, and let's give them a nice product experience around these things. And we're helping before we sell. So then this person doesn't have to guess whether or not our shit is good, because if it already is good, they already know it's good. If it already helped them for free, they already know it's good. Okay, so that is a huge hack there. So to recap, sales messaging, how to get people to respond, how to increase your messaging's effectiveness in your sales process. Number 1, don't underestimate the volume. Number 2, have intent in what you are trying to figure out and keep it organized, so you can actually get like solid feedback loops around what it is that you're doing. I think that was 2 and 3 actually. 2 is like understanding you have to massage it. 3, having intent so that you keep it organized and you're trying singular things, so you're not losing causal correlation between inputs and outputs and what you're changing, and then what the difference is, what's causing the actual difference. And then the last one is more overarching. Once again, if you want a full talk on that last part there, episode 23, Dangerously Effective Marketing Approach. Think of the human experience you're trying to create, and don't overlook the power of helping before you sell. If you can give people good stuff for free before they're at a point of purchasing, you're going to do good, right? Like if your free shit's better than other people's paid shit, you're going to fucking, win. You're going to eat the cake. So don't overlook that. All right. I appreciate you guys listening. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this or think it could be helpful for a friend that's trying to figure out their sales messaging, please share it with them. I don't run any ads on this. And if you want your question answered on a future podcast, just email Luke@LukeKish with the subject line question, and I'll answer it in a future episode. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day. I hope that helped you with your sales messaging, and have a great day. All right. Thanks. See you tomorrow. Bye.